This is Snake. Do you read me, Otacon?
Loud and clear, Snake.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Welcome to MojoPlays. The PS2 gave us some of the best experiences in all of gaming, along with memories and moments that are unlikely to be replicated in today's era of safe gaming releases.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
The Precursors, Jak 3.
Okay. I'm fine.
Jak and Daxter were one of the PS2's most dynamic duos, and their trilogy of games remains a series of beloved classics even today. However, alongside the precision platforming and GTA-style antics, it's easy to forget there was a deep narrative happening behind the scenes. One of the game's central mysteries that was almost completely forgotten until the end was Daxter's transformation into an Ottsel. Players had naturally become accustomed to Daxter's new appearance, but the reveal at the end of Jak 3 that the mythical Precursors were Ottsels as well brought the whole series to a well-earned conclusion. This revelation reframes the entire mythology of the Precursors and perfectly wraps up a mystery 3 games in the making.
When Daxter touched the Dark Eco, he was actually blessed when he thought he was cursed.
Woohoo! I'm a precursor! I'm a precursor!
Painting the world, Okami. The PS2 was the golden age for experimental titles, and Clover Studios were some of the most inventive and creative devs in the industry at the time. The world of Okami was already eye-wateringly gorgeous with its watercolor painting aesthetic, but the mechanic of painting within the world was truly something else. The Celestial Brush allowed players to not only put their painting skills to good use within combat, attacking foes with a myriad of brushstrokes, but also use the brush to bring the world back to life, painting leaves onto trees, building bridges, and even learning new skills for the brush, further opening combat abilities and ways to interact with the world. The Celestial Brush was unlike anything else on the PS2, and although similar mechanics have been replicated over the years, nothing has compared to those first brushstrokes when we first painted a happy little tree. Pyramid Head, Silent Hill 2.
James! Stop! Leave her alone! Leave us both the hell alone!
The Silent Hill series had already terrified players on the PS1, but it was the second entry on the PS2 that made the series a horror icon. As if the story behind James Sunderland's return to the town of Silent Hill and the horrors within the fog wasn't bad enough, there was something else lurking in the shadows, silently hunting the player: Pyramid Head. This menacing monstrosity would routinely show up at the most inopportune times, with its sole purpose being to cause James as much misery as possible while giving players nightmares for life. While Pyramid Head is a creation of James's guilt, hence the continued punishment, the creature became an icon for the series whose reputation has long outlasted the series itself. Everyone remembers the feeling of seeing Pyramid Head for the first time, even more so than the game's already disturbing conclusion.
That's why I needed you. Needed someone to punish me for my sins. But that's all over now.
The Village, Resident Evil 4.
I'm sure you boys didn't just tag along so we could sing Kumbaya together at some Boy Scout bonfire. But then again, maybe you did.
Oh, you crazy American.
For a lot of people, Resident Evil 4 is their favorite game of all time, and the opening village section is a big reason why. Not only is it a great tutorial for the new gameplay style for the series, but it is also a harrowing experience that gets the blood pumping in a way the series never did before. The onslaught of villagers, particularly Dr. Salvador, gave players not only a glimpse of the kind of nail-biting encounters they'd experienced throughout the game, but also perfectly encapsulated the classic RE experience of being overrun and careful inventory management. The myriad of ways you could deal with the Horde while still coming to grips with the new, more interactive over-the-shoulder perspective completely changed the genre and third-person shooters forever.
Little rough, don't you think?
Storming the Beach, Medal of Honor Frontline.
Stay with me and we'll get through this! We've got to take that beach!
Clear the ramp!
Long before Call of Duty dominated the wartime gaming conversation, Medal of Honor was the premier interactive experience for boots-on-the-ground combat. While the PS1 had 2 solid entries, Frontline on the PS2 opened with one of the most harrowing experiences in the entire series, perfectly recapturing the horror of the opening of Steven Spielberg's masterpiece Saving Private Ryan and the storming of Omaha Beach. With bullets whizzing by the player from seemingly every direction, comrades falling beside you while the waves constantly crashed, threatening to pull you under, this was the most realistic interactive recreation of one of the deadliest conflicts in World War II. The feeling of relief when you finally reach the top and take out the Nazi outpost was an adrenaline rush the rest of the game could never compare to. Virgil Fight, Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening.
Give that to me. No way. You got your own. Well, I want yours too.
From the moment players first realized they could combo juggle their enemies, the Devil May Cry series set itself apart from its action contemporaries. The third entry took everything that made the series iconic and dialed it up to 100. The final battle against Virgil was one of the most cinematic clashes of the PS2 generation. Everything you'd learned in the game up to that point came into play, and Virgil was not only your equal, but he was also better, and he knew it. The fight wasn't your traditional over-the-top encounter the Devil May Cry series was known for. It was just two brothers beating the absolute snot out of each other and finally settling a decades-old rivalry. The clash between these two superpowered sons of Sparta remains not only one of the most challenging boss fights on the PS2, but also the most memorable.
Am I being defeated? What's wrong? Is that all you got? Come on, get up! You can do better than that.
The Tanker, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
Boy, he's right on schedule.
There was already unquestionably an enormous amount of hype around the follow-up to the critically acclaimed Metal Gear Solid, but no one could have foreseen how much Hideo Kojima and his team would push the limits of the PS2 within its first year of release. The opening tanker section not only introduced players to the new mechanics, but also gave them a certified playground to interact with everything from shaking down guards to breakable bottles and even real-time melting ice cubes. The level was designed in such a way that players could approach their objectives in whatever way they chose, and the game adapted to either their stealthy or guns-blazing approach. The tanker not only perfectly set up the events for the rest of the game, but is arguably one of the most replayed levels in all of gaming, and a true showcase of what the PS2 was capable of.
You think it's a trap to lure us out here?
I don't know.
The Hydra, God of War.
Foul beast! I will send you back to the depths of Hades!
God of War set players' expectations for what the game had to offer right from the beginning. Assaulted by enemies from all sides, the legions of undead weren't even the biggest threat, as the Hydra would routinely attack Kratos as he navigated the aftermath of the many ships wrecked against the rocks and crushing waves. While most games of the time would have saved something like the Hydra encounter for later in the game, God of War threw a typical endgame boss at the player during what essentially amounted to the tutorial. Not only was the game teaching the player the ropes for the many encounters the game still had in store, but also set the benchmark for all future games in the series, with each attempting to outdo its predecessor on sheer scale for their opening boss fights. Exploring Liberty City, Grand Theft Auto 3. Unless you were there, you can't even imagine what it felt like to be let loose on the streets of Liberty City after booting up GTA 3 for the first time. While open-world sandbox games are the norm these days, GTA 3 was the original. And realizing you could drive wherever you wanted with almost no boundaries and explore, interact with NPCs, and even take on side jobs as a taxi or ambulance driver was an unbelievable amount of freedom for the time. To this day, there are some players who know the streets of Liberty City better than their own hometowns, and the realization that there were actually 3 separate islands available for you to explore and find all manner of challenges and side quests was indescribable. The First Colossus, Shadow of the Colossus. was easy to be skeptical about a game that advertised itself as nothing but boss fights. But from the moment you set out into the Forbidden Land, something about the game felt different. The feeling of total isolation was unlike any other game before it, and as you rode to your first encounter, the tension was palpable. Even if you'd seen trailers or screenshots, nothing could prepare you for the feeling of awe that washed over you when you find your first Colossus simply minding its business until you force it to confront you. The sensation of delivering the final blow didn't fill you with the same sense of satisfaction we'd been conditioned to expect. Instead, it felt like we knew what we were doing was wrong, but still, we pressed on. That feeling of hollowness in taking down your first Colossus is something that sticks with you in a way that's still haunting to this day. What were your favorite gaming moments on the PS2? Share your favorite memories in the comments.
Thank the gods you came back for me!
I didn't come back for you.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.